Hello, my name is Teresita Blanco, the Artsy Sister, and this is the Artsy Sister Talk Show, Art Talk Show. And today we're gonna be covering four painters that suffered from like a chronic illness throughout their life or very late in their life, and how that changed their art. It's not gonna be one of those stories where like, oh, through sheer willpower and determination that or they got magic legs or something, Lieutenant Dan style. I don't know.
No ableism in this.
I would try really hard not to be ableist, which is easier said than done, cause whatever. The first one on the shopping block, no pun intended, is Frida Kahlo. And well, Frida Kahlo before she got back when she started like painting and stuff, like this is one of her earliest paintings, 1924. Like she would just do very representational artwork, with like no fancy symbolism or weird feet or like weird animals or trees growing out of body and stuff. So one could almost say that it was quasi realist with abstraction elements or naive art, which is what they call artwork of somebody that's a self-taught artist, but that didn't go get like a professional education, or
Pretty
like
much the
she,
artist system.
pretty much the artist system, that you learn to paint by just bashing your head against the problem until it looks like a person. So yeah, this is one of her earliest paintings. It's in black and white, cause like all that art historians have about it is like a very old photograph that was in one of her old catalogs, but they don't have like the physical copy of it.
Yeah, it's like finding an old drawing that you made in DeviantArt 20 years ago. And then it's like a photo of the drawing that you made.
Yeah. And here's a still life in 1924. A charola de amapolas, like a vase with amapolas, it's just a lot of painters during those days. They were doing like that they were doing still life of flowers and whatnot. She painted what people would call like she painted, just for the fun of it, with no serious rhyme or reason behind it, because at the time painting was just a hobby. It wasn't. She was trying to like become a doctor, but then she suffered. But then one day she was in taking the bus like a normal human with like her boyfriend, and then the bus went through a terrible car crash, and like the bus crashed, and then one of those the beams that you hold on to so you don't fall off the bus. Well, one of them pierced right through her, and then and then like it was a miracle that she barely survived. So as a result of a large giant pole passing right through her, she was prostrated in bed for a while, and then she'd be like, "Well, I can't do anything in bed. I'm stuck in this bed, so I might as well just pass the time by painting, cause I had literally nothing else to do." So then these are the painting that she made 2 years after her accident, and it's a portrait of Miguel de Lira. And as you can see over here, what most folks consider a typical Frida Kahlo painting, with lots of weird little background elements. Like her style didn't change much. She still rendered people the same way, but she started after the accident, but she started adding more elements, especially like skulls and death, because obviously she had like a serious near-death experience. So obviously,
And lived in chronic pain constantly.
yeah, like because obviously then she will get corrective surgeries and then other corrective surgery because it's a back injury. And anyone who's ever gotten a back injury knows that you can't just like will yourself into like the pain doesn't go away.
And it gets worse as age passes.
Yeah,
Depending on the weather and
and a bunch of other shit. Like remember that there was a Netflix documentary about the opiate addiction in like the U.S. That and one of the main characters there was a guy that was a mechanic that a car fell on him, and then he became addicted to opiates because he had chronic back pain, and every time and then he had to start taking more and more because the pain would just get worse and worse, and he would develop this resistance to like the back pain medication.
Yeah, like in the US, they paint that as an addiction or something horrible or whatever. But the fact of the matter is that it hurts a lot.
A lot, and you try and you try to live in constant pain all the time, and then tell us about it, Like pain is not pleasant,
And it's not something that goes away if you just ignore it or
or pray a lot.
Yeah, you can't pray pain away no matter what. No matter what you see in those.
In the yeah, like more this is a Spanish saying that move the paper holds whatever you put in it, and the same thing can be said about movies,
Scripts.
about movie scripts in general, or anything that you see in like movies and stuff. Like don't use as an example of anything, any character, a fictional character from a movie. That's fiction. They're not real people. You know. And even biopics, you gotta take them with a grain of salt because like they like to take a lot of liberty. Remember, like the biopic? I forgot. Oh yeah, what was that?
Same boat.
Oh yeah, like Usain Bolt that we watched like, but then they call the movie Bolt, but then when you read through it, it has not. Usain Bolt should have been like, this movie has nothing to do with me, and even the main character's called different. I don't know why the hell do they call him Bolt.
Oh, back to Frida Kahlo.
But yeah, but back to Frida Kahlo. Yeah. So this is a painting that she made 2 years after her accident. As you can see, it's filled with a lot of elements of death. And this one is a self portrait she made. Oh yeah, and then roughly like 10 years later after her big accident. And as you can see that even right over here, there's a skull, so there's a skull of death. So even towards the Mexican side, so even though the U.S. is painted like a bleak factory, in the side of Mexico, there's the memory that always haunts her of like the terrible accident that she suffered.
There's also La Santa Muerte, which is like a thing in Mexico where they venerate death itself. So
Yeah.
it's personified as, oh, La Santa Muerte is always following me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she has like a weird love pain relationship with death itself.
Well, not like a love pain. It's more like respect.
Yeah, it's not love; it's more veneration.
Yeah, veneration. You respect that. You don't love that, but and because of her chronic back pain, it's like something that you just don't forget. Cause like every time she gets like some back pain, it be like, oh man, she gets like bad flashbacks of that terrible car accident.
And it even keeps evolving because later on, due to the way that she walks to avoid the back pain, she also gets gangrene on her foot, and then she loses a finger. So it keeps escalating.
Yeah, and then like in the movie of Frida Kahlo, the when she finally has her solo exhibition, after all of her hard work and stuff, she still has the chronic back pain so much that she can't even like get out of bed to go see it. So then what happens is like if it was an ableist movie, she would have shown up at the exhibition with like a walking cane where she muscled through the pain in order to show up there, but since they were going for realism, in fact, and with reality, what really happened was that her family and friends dragged the whole bed, and even her ex-husband dragged the entire bed so with her on top of it, so that she could go to the exhibition and still be very comfortable because they dragged the bed with her. So then she was able to make it to her exhibition not because of willpower, but because she had the love and support of kind, caring, understanding family and friends and fellow artists, and even her ex-husband.
Who is trash? He is the epiphany of.
Toxic masculinity.
But like it cost him a lot to admit that Frida Kahlo was a better painter.
That he was. Yeah, like about guys back then when I saying that their ex-wife was better painted.
So yeah, she must have been way better painted than he was considered.
For him to admit it. Yeah. So yeah, that's Frida Kahlo in a nutshell, in a non-ableist discussion of how her art changed
after traumatic injuries and change of life injuries.
Yeah. Alright, the next person on the shopping block is Auguste Renoir. He's an impressionist painting. Like Frida Kahlo, he was also a self-taught painter. And this is what the types of work that he painted like in his golden years, like just people having fun, drinking at a party. You see that woman with like the doggo, where she's like making a funny face at her dog.
Oh yeah, that's a story.
Yeah, he ends up marrying that woman. That's his wife. That's his future Mrs. Renoir.
Like he just like the face that he makes to the dog, and you're gonna see that woman with the dog from time to time shopping.
Yeah,
He just
yeah,
love that.
yeah, yeah. I guess they just found it charming. You can already see that the person that talks to the dog is their baby, and the dog was very confused. Oh, you're the puppy Google. Oh, you're such a good dog, and I just found it very endearing. And here's once again Renoir, and dancing. I think even this one, I think even this painter seems like a portrait. Or this guy actually looks more because of the big yellow or reddish beard and stuff, and the yellow hat. I think that's actually Van Gogh.
Could be.
Like a hidden portrait of Van Gogh because all of the impressionists used to hang out together and go party. So I feel that that's Van Gogh.
And Van Gogh have been seen with a farmer hat because he lived near farms and
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He like to hang out with like farmers and stuff. Cause he like to, cause
that
he
we,
was a,
we're just realizing that. I think that's something that the art historians missed.
yeah, definitely, and even like the blue suit, that's Van Gogh's traditional blue suit.
Yeah, that is Van Gogh right there dancing for North White.
Well, I don't think it's Renoir War,
Just some person.
just some random chic.
It's like, oh yeah, there goes Van Gogh getting it on with the shit. I gotta draw that.
Yeah, Benton, I'm gonna
Like,
paint
way to
that.
go, Van Gogh. Keep this
Yeah,
painting for all prosperity.
yeah,
And then
but
Van Gogh be like, can you hide my face or something? And then he
they just painted the hat like. Well, it could be more obvious if the hat was a later addition to hide the identity of like the dancer. And I guess I mean you can look to it by like doing an effort on the painting, but we're getting sidetracked. Yeah, this is
well,
where,
either way, the person who owns this painting, if you're watching this, X-ray the painting and then let us know who's underneath the hat.
yeah. Tell us if it's if it's Van Gogh, if it's Van Gogh or not.
And if it is Van Gogh, you gotta subscribe and I don't know, donate to the channel. Well,
Like yeah.
like and subscribe. If it turns out to be Van Gogh and the discovery of the century.
Yeah. All right. So then, in close to his soul, but then one day, Renoir, he suffered a stroke, as he sometimes happens to men of a certain age. And then he lost complete mobility of his painter hand. So then, since he couldn't like what do like the fancy movie scene, what his wife would do is that she would tie the brush to his hand and then he would paint like that without having to move his wrist. But as an expressionist painter, he already had like the building blocks to work in a painterly style. So then it would just make the painting bigger, and that way through optical blending, it would look like a solid mass or a figure.
And there's also a theory that the wife may have helped with some of the paintings as well.
Yeah, he would just arrange or even his daughter, that he would like arrange the composition and give it like his raw idea, or maybe do only the underpainting, and then that other people would do like the more refined details, or even one of his apprentices. That painting became like a group family project, cause
Where everybody supported the painter who was going through a disability.
yeah, it was stroke.
Yeah.
And anyone who suffered a stroke, well, especially in this time period, like you suffered a stroke in 1919, and like what the hell, and like science and like medicine sucked back then.
Still sucks now, but still, the point is that through the help of his family, they were able to find ways for him to.
To continue doing what he loved, which is to paint.
Renoir wasn't rich, right?
Well, he became rich after by painting a lot.
Yeah, but that was his source of revenue.
Yeah, that was his bread and butter.
So he was in a situation where if he stopped painting, he would run out of money. So his family and him worked together in order to continue the.
Yeah, yeah, you gotta like continue painting. Oh yeah, yeah, it is hearing me, right?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was here.
yeah. I was just doing like something. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so then even even though he continued painting, like some of his subject matter changed a bit after the stroke. Cause like now he's like this one is an impressionist painting, but the subject matter is orientalist. Cause like the maidens are dressed. Orientalism is basically like what they call cultural appropriation. They dress white people in like what they thought was
Marlon Brando in the movie Sayonara.
yeah,
The dad,
or Lawrence of Arabia.
or Mulan, if you want to.
Yeah, yeah.
This is Mulan is another perfect example of.
Yeah, the point is, in order to create an exotic feel to it, but it bears absolutely no semblance to reality because obviously Renoir was in Paris, France, and because of his stroke, he just couldn't be that far away from his house. Cause
Yeah, but this is also a commercial painting, meaning that he painted it because
it's what was sold, it's what was popular back in the day, you know.
like everybody who likes Orientalism, okay, let's get together and draw Orientalism and sell it.
Yeah,
Right?
gotta say they're like flashy Oriental maidens. Alright, gotta get the public what they want. And this one is the clown, and it's Claude Renoir in a clown outfit. You know, just a simple family portrait. It's not for selling. It's for you hang out in your. It's like
It's like something you put on your on the wall of your.
yeah, yeah. That's how you know, and it's ancient because even though cameras existed, like the quality it was still bad. The quality was awful, so it was just better to have a painting of someone when they're cute than to have them.
I feel it was a gift for a kid or something. Like he was just being silly when he made that.
Yeah, that's my kid dressed as a clown. Just a kid dressed as a clown.
You remember those photos when you were young and your parents take photos of you and then you look at them and then you cringe.
Yeah, this
This
is
is a painting.
yeah. Oh God, why is a painting of me dressed like a clown? Is it? Maybe once I had oh, he looks so cute. All right, let's paint him. Time to paint him.
And then the kid is like, Dad, don't.
Yeah, I look stupid in this outfit, but yeah. But you see, yeah. But that shows that he has a bit more wealth to throw around, cause like he can just now make painting just to decor the house and not just orientalist and stuff. But he does do a hell of a lot of like flashy orientalist maidens
Because that was what was
after the
popular at the time.
stroke and then after the stroke. So obviously he has like a lot of medical bills to pay.
And he's worried that one day he may not be able to paint at all, so he needs to amass some wealth in case that happens
Yeah, he's worried about
in the
or
future.
yeah, the future. You know, I gotta paint what sells, so that leaves some money for the family. Cause you know, he as an impressionist painter, he knew what it was to like eat the bitter bread of poverty, of charity and poverty. You know. The next painter that we're gonna be talking about is Shot Close, and this is not a photograph. This is actually a hyper realistic, like photorealistic pencil drawing.
Like in YouTube when you see those shorts of somebody drawing something that looks hyper realistic, but they're really AI, this person could do it for you.
Yeah, and look at the date, 1968, before computers even existed. So yeah, it looks like a photograph, but no, it's a painting, a very heavy painting of him. But you know, as I said, so then that was him. So that was just the types of artwork that he did, and this one is the beat of the grid. That happened before his illness. He was like fiddling around with a different type of like style, you know, that with like the weird bubbles in order to create that face. But then in 1989, he suffered a spinal artery collapse in the spinal artery collapse. And anyone who suffered a spinal injury, well, then he lost a hell of a lot of mobility. And well for a while, the doctor be like, dude, you're not gonna, you're not. For a while, he thought he wasn't gonna be able to move at all, but after a lot of like therapy and stuff, he was able to move not a lot but a little, just enough to like get by. So, but since he still had like the background of photorealism, he just adapted his art to the fact that he can't paint anymore at that level, but he can. But he had already a an art style. Well, not on purpose. He just happened like he had something else to like fall back on. Which was built upon pointillism and impressionism that were started ages ago, so he could do quasi or still render a person's face in like high quality and stuff, but not to a photorealistic degree.
Like he never was able to do photorealism to that level as a post injury versus
Post spinal artery collapse.
yeah. But he did the best he could.
Yeah, but he was still able to perform, but he was still able to paint in such a way in order to get like patrons to ask for portraits. By just going instead of hyper realistic, then he just went for like the
Whatever he
painterly
could.
to like the fancy colorful painterly way. And here's another one that is quasi photorealistic, and this one is Kara Walker, and it was painted in 2012, or very close to modern time. And see, you see that it looks from far away photorealistic, but when you get in there, you can see like the types of brush strokes and lots of like fluid movement. And also like the grid pattern, and like he had like assistants to help him like form the little grid, to form like the little grid patterns, cause like he couldn't paint in straight lines anymore. So what changed after the essence that yes, he could still produce art, but he now required the help to get by with the help of a friend and like assistance and like, but that didn't stop him from like continuing to like paint. That he just need extra help, you know. It's like sometimes you just need help, and that's all right. And it doesn't just cause you need help doesn't make you less of an artist person. Yeah, because in the end, this is still short clothes. You know, he had developed that style earlier, but after the spinal scene, that just became the dominant way that he had to like paint because he couldn't do photorealistic stuff anymore. All right.
And objectively speaking, I prefer his post.
His post spinal injury art.
Like any YouTuber that does shorts in like another country can do photorealism these days, but that style of short clothes is unique to him.
Yeah, it's like a very unique way of painting. Yeah, well, photorealistic, well, anyone can do photorealistic.
Mike Printer can do photorealism.
Yeah, but this is a unique way of rendering a person, and it looks fun. All right, the next painter that I wanted to show, the last one in this art lecture is Dali. I just wanted to show you this picture. I didn't show you in like art school. A kid eating a rat. Now that I finished crossing you out next painting, because when I was getting like the painting for this thing, I ran into it. Like, wow, that looks.
They don't show you this in school.
They don't teach you that in art class. It looks insane. Kid eating a little blunt chubby kid. I ate a rat. I ate Splinter, mommy. Whatever. Okay. So yeah, like we're doing this. Like this is Ali, and this is what he painting before the thing. And here's Galatea with the lead, the scene that completely changed his entire life paradigm and art and stuff. The scene that happened was that that his wife died because she was older than him, so obviously she was gonna not by a couple of years, but I think she was 20 years older than him.
Yeah.
So then his wife, his artist, his muse, his everything died, and then suddenly old age hit him like a ton of bricks, and like
Yes, he already had like depression and all of these other things going on with him, but then the death was the catalyst that drove him toward.
yeah, that just that suddenly he felt the years of his life, cause like the wife was she was the only one that like got him out of bed in the morning, so. Here's him in 1997, Dali showing the birth of Venus to his wife. This over here, down here, here's the Dali over here with like his wife down there. You see, it's a happy couple showing happy surrealist painting. You know, he had his wife. So then this is what he painted after
mental collapse and
after his mental collapse, after his wife died, cause like everyone in his family said that like you're the leader and pressuring him to like keep producing paintings and stuff. So then he just painted this very angry looking painting where it's called the ferocious attack of a cello, where a
yeah, pretty
cello.
much his family. What they ended up doing was telling him, "Okay, work through it. You got this." Like
Yeah, don't,
they
don't process the fact that your wife is, go back to painting.
suppress everything that you're feeling right now and just pour toward art. You can muscle through this. See the world with a happy face, and
Yeah.
obviously that didn't help.
Yeah, yes. Also, yeah. Oh, you said that your wife said, "Oh, use that emotion and like paint to make us money." So then, here we have what came out of those terrible advices of people that were just like that were just greedy. Cause like by this time, Dali was loaded. He didn't need to continue painting. He didn't need to continue painting, but like people be people, and not everyone is satisfied with a million, with like millions of dollars. They wanted trillions. Cause
This is a biography thing. He literally was pressured to continue to paint by his family and peers
yeah,
and the academy and all of it.
yeah, like they weren't interested in like helping him work through the death of his wife. They be like they just time to go sing Rastafan and to help with your
Yeah, here we are
emotions
now.
and
Entertain us.
yeah, yeah, Kurt Cobain style.
Mhm.
And also they say that like that by this time he also was like suffering from Parkinson, so his painting hand was like trembling all the time, and you can see that, and you can kind of see hints of that over here in like the line over here, because you see that the lines are not that straight, which shows that he was painting like this. But
People didn't care. They just wanted him to keep painting.
yeah, just keep painting. You know?
Never mind your mental health. Never mind
That you have Parkinson because you're 80 years old. You gotta keep on trucking. And this one is an unfinished painting that he had that is called The Three Enigmas of Gala. And in 1982, it's like roughly around like the year where Gala died. So then you can kind of see the ice cream that it almost looks like a death portrait of the maiden, because she looks very peaceful. And this one is called Explode Ahead. And like this one almost looks like a ghostly maiden, like he's being hunted by the ghost of his wife. It's like very spooky. It's like very spooky even. So yeah, it's just I painted dealing with Parkinson, and at the same time like depression and everything that comes with like losing the love of your life.
yeah, having zero support for you.
Yeah, having like no support from like your family, the frustration and just the haunting just shows over there. So yeah, like with Renoir, it was a painter that got love and support from his family, and Dali shows the what happens when like they just where the only support that you get is what they did to Amy Winehouse, that they didn't send her to rehab. They told her like go keep singing and to help with your
Through it.
and muscle through your alcoholism without getting any actual help. But yeah, that's what they did to Dali in the last 10 years of his life. That never mind what you're feeling, you're Parkinson, you're painting yourself, and you gotta keep painting. You're Dali, you're the painter guy, so go paint. Cause like society, like the way that society, like early in the 80s and stuff, and even back then, that they say that a person's worth is defined by what they produce, by their work and how much money they have, and it's like a very terrible utilitarian way of valuing a person. A person's value is not defined
Well, a
by
person shouldn't even have a value. I mean, why are we weighing people's accomplishments through life as if they were currency?
yeah, and to hell with that,
Yeah, like a person should be happy and live a life as well as possible during his circumstances. It shouldn't be oh, if you produce this much, then you're worth this much to society. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I mean, when you kid, like when you die, like everything. Well, first of all, we don't know. Like each religion has its own different school of thought or what happens after that, but
And even nihilists who don't believe in any of that still have a belief as to what happened.
yeah, like a general opinion after, but and you can't take any of that with you. And even the Egyptians who tried to take everything with them, now they have all of their stuff being displayed in museums, and they stole all of the fancy jewelry that they tried to take with them to the afterlife. So not even the Egyptians with like all of the fancy things that they try to do to like take those stuff to the afterlife. No, it's not gonna happen. They're gonna loot your corpse after that, and that's all right. Just live a happy life and don't and don't go into nuts just because like society's pressuring you to be like the magic handicap person that you lost your sight but now you have super hearing. That
That is that's
that is a Daredevil comic book BS. So yeah, and I hope you have a lot of family that are like helping and loving you and supporting you. And our sister still loves and supports you. Bye bye and God bless. Alright, stop right